Welcome to Open File Backup. We are a podcast featuring conversations with inspiring women who are kicking butt in the tech industry and beyond.
I feel like I got intimidated out of tech in my early years.
I'm your host, Deborah Butler, and that was Celina Lee from Zindi Africa. Zindi is the first data science competition platform in Africa, and we'll be chatting today about machine learning, data science, and what it's been like as somebody from the States coming into Africa to start a platform like Zindi. Can you explain to me, as somebody who's just, walking on the street, what exactly is machine learning?
And it's a good question because I think, this term gets bandied about as well as AI, and it starts to take on a life of its own in people's minds. So machine learning is essentially, at its very core, it's about teaching a computer or a machine to make decisions without explicitly telling it what to do, without explicitly, telling it what decisions to make, but it's rather for it to be able to learn from historically what has happened, to take in data about what are the patterns and behaviors, and for then to allow the machine to, learn and improve the decisions that it makes. So like a really simple example could be, for example, predicting traffic. So if you know that you have a meeting in the city center at 10 o'clock in the morning, you might decide, okay, well, it's 10 in the morning, it's a Monday. Okay, I think traffic's going to be a bit heavy. I'm going to leave at this time. So you as a human are taking in information that you know about the day and making a decision based on that. And so what a machine learning algorithm would do is take in, what do you know about Monday mornings at 10 a.m.? What do you know about, and then the things that humans do is take in a lot of other things that are, things like, is it a school holiday today? Is it raining today? All types of things are entering into your mind without explicitly you saying, okay, this is why I'm making these decisions. So a machine would basically be able to take in all of these other different nuanced, pieces of information, and make a decision based on that. So, weather might be more important than holidays. So those are things that a machine learning model would quantify.
Do you find there's a lot of kind of people more geared towards machine learning and AI now, specifically in Africa? Are we up to date with the rest of the world, or are we still a few steps behind?
Well, yeah, I think that Africa is a few steps behind, so that's an advantage and disadvantage, I suppose, because it's what's amazing is that now as Africa gets to the point where they are ready to step into the data revolution, they're able to pick and choose and take and borrow and continue to adapt based on, the other advances that have happened in the markets. And we've seen that work in very interesting ways in the past, with, Africa leapfrogging in a lot of different sectors. Mobile money taking off in Kenya is something just leapfrogged straight from not having even, landlines and internet to using their cell phones to do their banking and their financial transactions.
Yeah.
So I think it's an advantage and disadvantage.
So what made you specifically want to start a data science competition platform in Africa?
Yeah, for me, it's really it's a culmination of so many things that I'm so excited about. For my whole life, I've always loved data and mathy type things. So it's just been, something that I enjoy, and also something that I really believe in. I worked in nonprofits and in development projects, international development projects for many years. And I think that I've always been the one who was kind of what can we use data for how can we use data to make better decisions about the things that we're doing? How can we use data to better, quantify and measure the things that we're doing, and more fairly, whether or not we're having positive or negative impacts. Those are, I've always been really excited about the power of data to shed new light onto things that are happening, to help us make better decisions. So it's something that I've been really excited about. I think that I've been living in South Africa for almost 2.5 years now. And I think that Xindi's like stepping into this really exciting space. I mean, I'm so inspired and so excited by the people that I'm meeting here that are in this data science space. I mean, the young, data scientists that are up and coming, and even those that are like, making inroads and taking off. I think there's just so much opportunity. So that's why, that's why I think it's the right place for a platform like Zindi.
Yeah, because I mean, we can hear by your accent. Obviously, you're from the States. You're from California. You've got a degree. I'm going to get this wrong again, but you got a degree in computer science. You've got a degree in applied mathematics, and then you did your master's in international affairs. Yeah.
Yeah, more or less. I mean, that's it. Yeah, I got my bachelor's in science in applied mathematics, and I minored in computer science. And those were the days before there was even a such thing as data science or big data. There was no such thing as big data when I graduated.
Yeah.
Like if you graduated as an applied math major, you were going straight to being an actuary.
So what made you, how did you then, because I mean, obviously, I think you said when we were chatting earlier, it was 2000 when you obviously graduated and you started, I think you said you went into engineering. How did you then, when and how did you transition from engineering to data science?
I'm not even a data scientist. I would not qualify myself even remotely as a data scientist. I'm an enthusiast, let's say. I went from engineering. I was there. I mean, I went into the corporate world, typical New York corporate America type job, right out of undergraduate with my bachelor's, and then that it wasn't so satisfying, professionally or personally. It was not a satisfying experience. I felt like there was a lot more that I should be doing with myself, and so I went into more social impact work, into working with nonprofits in Latin America, and working on projects that help women-owned micro and small enterprises. So I moved into this. That was the big leap. And as my career went, and I went back to graduate school. So about 10 years ago, I really started to make a concerted effort to bring together the data and the social impact, to bring those two sides of what I was passionate about. And then, in the last few years, data science became a thing, or machine learning became a thing. And so it's just really, Zindi, I think, is like a culmination of so many things that I am excited about.
Yeah, and you said Zindi started. I think you said it was Megan Yates that you kind of working with. It was kind of her brainchild, and then you came on board a couple of months after.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, so Megan Yates is the founder and chief scientist of Ixio Analytics, which is a data science and machine learning consulting company here in South Africa. And so she still leads the company. And just over a year ago, well, let's say like a year and a half ago, as they were finishing their year, she and the board made the decision that they would invest in creating the Kaggle for Africa. It was, something that she felt passionate about, something that she saw a need for. And so this was something that she originally wanted to do. And I joined her a few months later. And we've been working together on this since. And along with her business, with the business partner at Ixio, who's Echo Duker. So the three of us more or less kind of created Zindi together.
That's great. So you've got a predominantly female-run company in a predominantly male industry. So how have you found that? Firstly, how have you found it with promoting Zindi and getting people on board? And then how have you also found it in terms of any roadblocks that you might have had in Africa itself?
Yeah, I mean, it's been interesting. I think it's I love it. I love working, with the team that I have. We do have mostly women. I mean, even the data scientists in the company are women. Yeah, I mean, it sets us apart for one thing, because I mean, you go to these conferences, Megan and I will go to conferences together and we'll look around and realize we're like the only women.
Yeah, that happens to me all the time.
Yeah, so I mean, it's really cool. It sets us apart. People remember us. And, it says something about diversity, even if it's not conscious, people attract other people that are like them in some for the different events that we've had at Zindi. Like, I've managed to have a lot of women speakers, a lot of women, leaders in the different countries that I've been able to align Zindi with. And a lot of it is because maybe I'll be on a panel. I was in a panel discussion in Tanzania last year. And right after, one of the data scientists in the audience, who was a woman, came running up to me and introduced herself. And we just, we hit it off. And last month I was in Tanzania to launch our first Tanzanian Zindi competition. And I was looking for a mentor. And so I looked her back up, I contacted her, and she led the whole session. She gave a technical talk to kick off the session. So yeah, it's a great network that we're building, I think.
Yeah, it sounds to me like you haven't had many challenges, being mostly a female company. That to me is how it should be done. It shouldn't be a big deal.
Yeah.
It also sounds to me like there's a lot of female data scientists out there as well.
Well, I think this is what's interesting. I think programming, so you're a coder. I think that, computer science and the whole coding world, is very male dominated. I think data science is this interesting combination of statistics and math plus coding. And what I've seen is that a lot of the men who come into data science are coming from the coding side, and a lot of women are coming more from the research and academic and sciences side. Megan herself comes from an academic background. One of our data scientists, who's a woman, has her PhD in biology. And we have a few, Our Ladies is a group here in Cape Town. I went to one of their meetups. A lot of them were coming with PhDs and just brilliant, just a brilliant group of women. And so I think that, it's interesting that a lot of the women are coming into this space from the academic side, but it means that they have a really good, solid foundation to make a mark in this space.
Was it something that you had set out to do, to kind of be, I don't really want to say role model, but I'm going to say role model for other women who are trying to make it in the tech world, whether it's data science or coding or STEM or whatever it happens to be? Was that something you set out to do, or was it just kind of organically happened?
It's been organic. It's been an interesting experience. I think that when I graduated, or even when I was in, undergrad and at an engineering school, and when I first graduated, it was it could be a very hostile environment for women. And I don't know, it's probably changed a bit since then, but there's definitely still elements of that, I know. But I think, I don't think I ever thought of myself as a role model in this space. I still don't necessarily. I feel like I'm like a facilitator, and I want to give other women this platform. I don't see myself as a role model in that sense, but I understand the struggle. I've been through the struggle. Yeah. I haven't necessarily won the struggle, but I came around through the other side, and I hope that I am making a difference for other women who want to come up.
Yeah, I think that's important. Is there any competitions on Zindi that is kind of centered around anything to do with gender whatsoever?
Not explicitly, but that's a good question. That is something that I would like to take up. So I will look for one. I will look for some. Yes. Has any data sets on these types of issues? Contact me.
What's been your favorite one since you started, and why?
One that we did with Uber Kenya and with Mobi Ticket, which is a startup in Kenya that sells bus tickets over a USSD service. And that one's been really cool because one in Africa, anyone we talk to and we mention traffic, everyone gets excited. So, so this one does have to do with we have some traffic data from Uber. We have, basically historic data on how many bus tickets people are buying around Nairobi. And yeah, it was a really cool one. The startup that we're working with, Mobi Ticket, was interested in being able to predict basically the demand for certain bus tickets, different routes at different times on different days. And so that's what the challenge was basically for people to be able to predict how many bus tickets would sell. And I talked with them a couple of weeks ago. They're really excited about the solution. They're looking at ways to implement it, but the idea would be this could help them with fleet management to know like how many buses should be deployed at different times. To push different promotions for different routes if they know that demand is going to be low. Yeah, so that one was really cool because it's a really cool use case, and it starts to tackle a topic that everyone's interested in.
Yeah.
And then another one I just want to mention that just closed on Sunday last week is the sea turtles, which we all love because it's like sea turtles. Who
doesn't love sea turtles?
Yes, who doesn't love sea turtles? I mean, we have the best pictures. I actually need to put up more pictures because so that one was with a nonprofit organization in Kenya that does a sea turtle rescue program. And so sea turtles off the coast of Kenya were getting caught in nets. There's fisher people are fishing out on the coast and they catch sea turtles on mistake. And so the program that they run is they actually give the fishers a small amount of money when they bring the turtle back in. So it's a way for them to compensate them for the time and the effort it took to bring the sea turtle in, and then they tag the sea turtle. They nurse it to health if it's been injured, and then they release them. Yeah, and so they have a database of all the catches that they've made over the last 15 years.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a really cool data set. It's a really cool program. And the challenge there was actually they have a very small staff. The organization is called Local Ocean Conservation. Sorry, and they spend weeks and weeks cleaning up their database at the end of the year. All of the data is captured by hand and transferred into a database. And so they asked us, is there a way that we can automate this process? All of our staff is spending the entire month of December cleaning these databases.
Yeah.
So the challenge was to basically detect where there may be errors in the different fields in their database. And it wasn't an easy challenge.
No, it doesn't sound like it.
Yeah, but it'll save them a lot of time and resources. So I'm excited to see the outcomes of this.
So what happens? Do these companies come to you, or do you approach these companies?
Yeah, a bit of both. I mean, and it's getting easier and easier as we go. You can imagine, before we had the platform, we're trying to sell competitions and we don't even have a platform or even a website. So that was challenging. So we were definitely going out to people in the beginning. We were lucky that we had, some good, some good partners that really believed in us and believed in our vision and were willing to take the risk and come on board early. And in the last couple of months, I feel like, people have started to seek us out and, fill out the form on the contact us and just, ask us about how they can do a competition.
Do you think, because obviously you're over here, you've been here for 2 years, do you think you'll stay on in South Africa for a few more years? Or do you feel because, you said you did a lot of work in South America, I think you said, and other parts of the world. Do you feel like you'll get the itch to move somewhere else, or is this something that you are looking at, sticking with for the moment?
Yeah, I am a bit of a nomad. I mean, and that's been my MO my whole life. But no, I mean, Zindi, like I said, it's like the combination of so many things that I love that, I mean, I'm super happy to opportunity. To me, this is the opportunity of the lifetime. And so, I mean, my family and I, we take it year by year, we're playing it all by ear, but we are applying for permanent residency in South Africa now. So we'll see. We'll see where this all goes. But we're super flexible.
Was there any misconceptions that you had before you got here?
Well, I think South Africa surprised me. So I think that's the thing. Like I many years ago had kind of been in and out of particularly like East Africa, so I was kind of familiar. But of course, Africa is an entire and diverse continent. So I didn't know Southern Africa very much, and I didn't know South Africa for sure. And so I think South Africa surprised me, challenged some preconceptions, I suppose. Like I didn't know much about Cape Town, and Cape Town is like, I feel like I'm in California. I'm from San Francisco. I feel right at home, as if I never left. So that was really surprising to me. I had no idea. Yeah, so South Africa is very surprising to me, but I think in general, like, stepping into this space with Zindi, also like what I didn't expect was just how many data scientists and aspiring data scientists there were out there. We weren't sure how many we would get signed up, and when we were getting like hundreds and hundreds at a time, we're like, oh my god, what did we hit on?
So if somebody out there was looking to be a data scientist, how would you recommend that they actually get into it?
Well, I think one of the feedback that I've been getting from a lot of people is that the best way to learn how to, so particularly on the machine learning part, the types of challenges that we have on Zindi, like the best way to learn is to just try to do something. So it's almost like hard to just kind of learn through the videos without actually having something that you're working towards. And I'll even vouch for this because I myself, I'm not a data scientist, but I attempt sometimes at different things. And I find that the best thing, particular problem that you're trying to solve. And then as you go through each of the steps and you figure out, okay, this is the part where I have to do X, Y, Z. There's so many resources on the internet between like YouTube videos and tutorials and just, you can look up that specific thing that you need to do. And what's great is that you learn how to do it, you apply that to the problem that you're solving, and then you go on to the next step. So it's kind of, it's very valuable to kind of circle your training around a very specific challenge that you're going to take step by step and walk through the entire.
Yeah, there's a when it comes to like being a developer or coder, whether it's front end or back end, there's a debate out there, whether, because a lot of people are self-taught. I'm self-taught, and there's a lot of people out there that have got a computer science degree, and there's a lot of debate at the moment whether it's important to have a computer science degree or whether it's okay to be self-taught, because there's a ton of resources out there, like you said. But data science is obviously a different thing. Can somebody be a data scientist and be self-taught?
Yeah. No, that's true, because it's interesting. I see people coming either from the coding side or the math side, and also because it's a relatively new field. Very few universities now. Only now you're starting to see some degree programs in data science. I've come across a few universities here in South Africa that have. But you're right, because it's a new field. I think that people come from one side or the other, and so there's already it depends on what you consider self-taught. So there's definitely tons of self-teaching happening, because people are basically crossing over to the other side. So like coders are going back and learning their statistics, and the statisticians are coming back and learning like how to code, and that's definitely possible. That's where everyone comes from. Like that's where 99% of the data scientists out there come from, like one side or the other, and they came and found a way to teach themselves the other side. But if you have no background in either of those things, then you have a lot more that you have to like catch up on, I think. Definitely helps if you have a little bit of some like academic or at least university type of training on one or the other side.
What would you think would be a good base then? Would it be mathematics would be a good base, or do you think computer science would be a good base?
I think either. I mean, either is good. And I think typically when one studies one or the other, they do end up taking a few courses or one or two courses in the other side, right? If you're studying computer science, a lot of times you do take some of the maths and statistics classes. And I think the other thing to mention is that it's not just math, but actually what works very well is any type of science, or actually, I mean, really, almost every field uses math, and particularly statistics. If you're studying sociology, if you're studying astronomy, if you're studying biology, chemistry, all of these, medicine, public health, all of these fields use statistics. That's what's amazing. And actually, those types of people are even better suited for the world of data science, because they're suited to trying to solve like a real world problem using math, right? Yeah, instead of just like a theoretical background in math. Yeah, so yeah, it's quite a wide open field right now.
I guess you've got to be, to a degree, you have to have, problem solving.
It is problem solving at the end of the day, right? Yeah. Although, I mean, I'll put a caveat on that. I mean, that's for, people who are aspiring to be practitioners, which I think is, 90 to 99% of the people will, want to just go, be a practitioner, go into a company and solve real life problems. There's definitely an academic space to this, that I'll admit I'm less familiar with, but, definitely the universities, are the places where you have people going at it like on a whole nother level. And then there you have our PhDs, mathematicians, that kind of stuff.
You've been listening to Open File Backup with me, Deb. My guest this week was Celina Lee. You'll find all the links mentioned in this interview in the episode description, as well as on the website, which you can find at openfilebackup.net. Please follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube under the handle openfilebackup, all one word. You'll find all the latest episode and news there. If you enjoyed the show, please subscribe and leave a rating. And if you have any comments on this episode, you can email us at openfilebackup@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. Theme music was composed by me, editing was done by me with the help of Joe Jackson. Thanks for listening and see you soon.